All right, thanks, guys. The Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Now, that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Florida. This game's currently off the board. We don't have a line for this game as of yet, but one thing to know, Tampa Bay 9-1 in their last 10 taking on Florida. And when it comes to the total, the Panthers are 80% of the over in their last 5 at home taking on Tampa Bay. So although we have no line for this game, pretty sure Tampa Bay is going to be heavily favored in this one. So I'm going to lean Tampa Bay Lightning -1.5, getting the job done for some puck line cash. All right, next game, Rangers, Senators, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Ottawa. The Rangers are -130 on the road, total 6.5. Saw a 10-cent move toward New York in the early wagering. No movement on the total as of yet. The Rangers open $1.20 up to 130. Total open and remained at 6.5. 65% of the consensus is leaning toward the Rangers. 67% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Senators are plus $1.10 on the money line. Rangers plus 220, laying the goal and a half. Now, Ottawa has actually had some pretty good success against the Rangers in recent meetings. Ottawa's 6-4 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with New York. They're also a perfect 8-0 in their last 8 at home, taking on the Rangers. Now, New York, on the other side, losers in 4 out of their last 5 head-to-head matchups with Ottawa. And when it comes to the total, the Rangers 5-3 to the under in their last 8, taking on the Senators. I'm leaning toward the home dog in this one. Pretty good price point. Exceptional value here for a team that plays the Rangers well. I'm going to lean Ottawa plus $1.10 and the under 6.5 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Saturday's NHL action. But before we go ahead and proceed with that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We are 17-4-1 in our last 22 daily double picks. We're also 14-3-1 on the college football season. Now, there's plenty of free content there as well, including my current record amongst all my different tiers and packages. The link for that site is in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive back into some more NHL lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Canadiens taking on the Maple Leafs. That's a 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Toronto. Now, this game's currently off the board as well. Toronto is 2-0 on this season. They're also very good against Montreal in recent history. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with the Canadiens. Meanwhile, Montreal, losers in 4 out of their last 5 in Toronto. So once again, this is one of those games we don't have a line for it, but Toronto should open up pretty heavily favored. I'm going to lean Toronto -1.5, getting the job done for some puck line cash. Did you know that in hockey, it's a puck line? So in baseball, it's a run line. You hear me talk about run line. Football is against the spread. In NHL, it's the puck line. Yeah. So anyway, that's my wife. She is cleaning the kitchen and asked me if I want a waffle. No, I don't. I thank you for the offer. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive back into some more leans here. And our next game is the Devils taking on the Sabres. 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Buffalo. I'm sure the subscribers would love a waffle right now. What a jerk. Do you want a waffle? No, I'm good. No waffle. Don't make me breakfast. Anyway, Buffalo's -115. Total's 5.5. We did see a lot of movement in this one, guys. We saw a 15-cent fade of Buffalo and a significant movement downward on the total. The Sabres opened $1.30, down to -115. Total opened 6.5, down to 5 and a hook. 56% of the consensus is leaning toward Buffalo. 55% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Devils are -105 on the money line. Buffalo plus 235, laying the goal and a half. The Sabres really having a tough go of things against the Devils in recent contests. Buffalo's just 3-6-1 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with New Jersey. They're also just 1-6 in their last 7 at home hosting the Devils. Now, New Jersey on the other side, winners in 12 out of their last 15 head-to-head matchups with Buffalo at any location. And when it comes to the total, New Jersey is 6-4 to the under in their last 10, taking on the Sabres. Pretty good value here, pretty good price point. I like the Devils on the road. Give me New Jersey minus 105 and the under 5.5 in that game. Next matchup, Blue Jackets, Penguins, 7 o'clock Pittsburgh. This is another game that is currently off the board. Pittsburgh pretty good against Columbus over the past couple of meetings. They're 8-2 in their last 10, taking on CBJ. Meanwhile, Columbus on the other side, they lost their last 10 straight games in Pittsburgh. So although there's no line for this game, I'm going to lean Pittsburgh winning this one outright for some money line cash. All right, next matchup, Hurricanes, Capitals, 7 o'clock, Nation's capital. The Caps are minus $1.15, total at 6. No movement on the total as of yet. We did see a 10-cent fade of Washington in the early wagering. The Caps open 125 down to 115. Totals at 6. Now 78% of the consensus is leaning toward Washington. 61% shaded toward the over. Right now, Carolina is catching even money for a straight-up win. Washington plus 230, laying the goal and a half. We have Peter Mrazek in net for Carolina. Braden Holtby for the Caps. Washington 2-0 straight up on the year. 6-3-1 in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with Carolina. Now, total-wise, Washington is 2-0 to the under thus far on the season. Give me the Caps minus $1.15 and the under. 6 goals in that game. Next matchup, Red Wings, Predators. 8 o'clock Nashville. The Preds are minus 240, total 5.5. No movement on the total as of yet. We did see a 25-cent move toward Nashville. The Preds open 215 up to 240, totals 5.5. 91% of the consensus is leaning toward Nashville right now. 61% shaded toward the over. Right now, Detroit is plus $2 on the money line. Nashville plus 105, laying the goal and a half. Now, guys, Nashville heavily favored, taking a ton of money in this spot, but you got to keep this in mind. Nashville just 1-7-2 in their last 10, taking on Detroit. They're also winless in their last 5 at home, hosting the Red Wings. Now, Detroit on the other side, 9-1 in their last 10, taking on Nashville. 5-4 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Detroit plus a goal and a half in the over 5.5 in that matchup. Next game, Stars, Blues. And that's going to be, yeah, so their name is the Blues, the St. Louis Blues.
I thought you said balloons at first.
Balloons. They're not the St. Louis Balloons. They're St. Louis Blues. And they won the Stanley Cup last year. The champions. They won. Yeah, look at them. Dallas at the Blues, 8 o'clock in St. Louis. The Blues are minus 140, total 5.5. Saw a nickel move towards St. Louis in the early wagering. The Blues open $1.35 up to 140, total 5.5. 56% are leaning Blues, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Dallas is plus 125 on the money line. St. Louis plus $2, laying the goal and a half. Dallas 5-4-1 in their last 10, taking on St. Louis. They're also 11-5 in their last 16 on the road, dating back to last year if you're into historical trends. Now, total-wise, the Blues 5-2 to the under in their last 7 at home, taking on Dallas. Pretty good price point here. I'm going to lean Dallas plus 125 and the under 5.5 in that game. Next matchup, Wild. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Colorado Avalanche. And that's going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Colorado, the Mile High City. Colorado's minus 165, total 5.5. Saw a 10-cent fade of Colorado and movement downward on the total. Colorado open 175 down to 165. Total open 6 down to 5.5. 85% leaning toward the Avalanche, 58% shaded toward the under. Right now, Minnesota's plus 150 on the money line. Colorado plus 160, laying the goal and a half. I'm going to lean Minnesota in this spot here. Don't see a whole lot of scoring in this one. Give me the Wild, the Minnesota Wild. Wild like my aunt's hair right now after a long night of drinking.
Oh, that's me.
You still have makeup on, too. Holy cow.
Yeah.
You literally rolled into bed. I'm going to take the Wild plus 1.5 and the under 5.5. Just to give you guys a heads up, I literally woke up this morning to an estranged woman in my stepson's bed. I was very sad. She was watching cartoons loudly. It was wild. I was in bed at like 11 o'clock last night, and I come home, and apparently just craziness happened last night. People crying, throwing up. It was wild. All right, next matchup. It's going to be Bruins. Bruins taking on Arizona. 9 o'clock Eastern puck drop in Arizona. Boston's minus 135, total 5.5. Saw a 15-cent move toward the Bruins in the early wagering. No movement on the total as of yet. Boston's 120, open 120, up to 135. Total's 5.5. 75% are leaning Boston, 74% shaded toward the under. Right now, Arizona's plus 115 on the money line. Boston plus $2, laying the 1.5. The Coyotes have lost their last 10 straight head-to-head meetings with Boston. Just incredibly bad against the Bruins. They're 6-3 to the under in their last 9 taking on Boston. I'm going to lean Bruins minus 135 and the under 5.5 in that game. All right, next matchup, Canucks. Flames, 10 o'clock Calgary. The Flames are 190, total at 6. We saw a 10-cent move toward Calgary in the early wagering. The Flames open $1.80, up to 190, totals at 6. For the record, I don't know why I wrote this down, but they're playing at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Gotta love that name. Anyway, 68% of the consensus is leaning toward Calgary, 82% shaded toward the under. Right now, Vancouver is plus 165 on the money line. Calgary plus $1.50, laying the goal and a half. Calgary 5-2-3 in their last 10, taking on Vancouver. 10-3 in their last 13 at home, hosting the Canucks. Meanwhile, Vancouver on the other side, 7-3 to the over in their last 10, taking on the Flames. I'm going to lean Calgary minus 1.5 and the over 6 goals in that game. All right, 2 games to go. We have the Kings taking on the Oilers. 10 o'clock Edmonton. The Oilers are 155, total 5.5. Saw a nickel move toward Edmonton in the early wagering. The Oilers open $1.50, up to 155, totals 5.5. 78% are leaning Edmonton, 68% shaded toward the over. Right now the Kings are plus 135 on the money line. Edmonton plus 175, laying the goal and a half. Pretty good spot for Kings bettors, in my opinion. I'm going to lean Kings plus 1.5 and the under 5.5 goals in that game. And we're going to slide into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Sharks, Ducks, 10 o'clock Anaheim. And this one's anticlimactic because this game's currently off the board. Give me Anaheim winning that one outright for some moneyline cash. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. We have Calgary minus 1.5 over 6 goals. Anaheim winning that one outright for some moneyline cash. Kings plus 1.5 under 5.5. Minnesota plus 1.5 under 5.5. Boston minus 135 under 5.5. Detroit plus 1.5 over 5.5. Dallas plus $1.25 under 5.5. Tampa Bay minus 1.5 for some puck line cash. New Jersey minus 105 under 5.5. Ottawa plus $1.10 under 6.5. Toronto minus 1.5 getting the job done on the puck line. Pittsburgh winning their game outright for some money line cash. And last but not least, we have the Washington Capitals minus 115 and the under 6 goals in that game. All right, we're going to slide into some shout-outs brought to you by, once again, patreon.com/BrockPage. First of all, shout-out to my wife and my Aunt Amber, who are crushing some food in the kitchen right now, just destroying it. What do you got there? Is that a pierogi? Waffles. Aunt Amber with some waffles. Full makeup and hair and outfit. Same outfit she was wearing last night. Still looks hot, though. I'll tell you, my aunt is smoking hot. She's 3 years younger than me, too, which is very weird. But anyway, shout out to my Aunt Amber and my lovely wife who deals with this crazy podcast nonsense every single morning. All right, shout out to Eric Card, Quinta Dillard, Brian Cobitter, Niles King, Tiernan Stevens, who said the stars are lined up for 2, not 1, but 2 5-leg parlays. Best of luck to you, Tiernan. We're going to root you in here today. We hope you hit both of them. Next shout out, we have Jason Felix, Jerry Gill, Sean Williams, KD313, my good friend KD313. Know him very well, and he's great. We love to see him comment in the comments section. Shout out to Jake Bobby 305, Rickett Picks, who does a YouTube channel of his own. If you see Rickett Picks in the comments section, make sure you click his icon there and check out his picks. A lot of great content there from Rickett Picks. Shout out to Armando Garcia, Mark G, Alan Ibarra, Raider Shoes 510, Bo Dunn, Mike Wilkerson, CQP Underboss. Always good to see CQP Underboss. And when it comes to Bo Dunn, you guys got to check his channel out too. Bo Dunn's a great guy. I consider him a great friend. And he does YouTube leans and picks, very similar content to me. That's Bo the Blind Capper Dunn. Make sure you guys check out Bo Dunn. And last, but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to Anime and Things, who said, you took all the away teams in the NHL yesterday. Yes, I did. And they all cashed. That's how we do it. All the away teams cashed, for the exception of the Flyers, but that was a neutral site game over in the Czech Republic in Prague, and we picked the Flyers in that one. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We went 17-4-1 in our last 22 daily double picks. We're also 14-3-1 in our last 18 college football plays on the season. There's also plenty of free content there as well. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. But most importantly, I got to thank you for tuning in right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Maybe I'll get a picture of the ant and put it on the channel so you guys can see it. I'll put it in the post section so you can see the ratchetness. It's actually quite funny. Anyway, check me out on patreon.com. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Saturday. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage.